A ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, a ton of news about stimulus payments, a ton of news is here for you on stimulus checks. Joe Biden can do something about this? First of all, let's get into the most important news. It's that Social Security benefits, no matter what, play a major role for your retirement and for the older Americans especially. Now, there could be big changes on the horizon. Social Security is facing a shortfall. A shortfall that could be catastrophic, that is. The program is paying out more in benefits than it's receiving from taxes. If lawmakers don't find a solution soon, things could get nasty. There are several proposals on the table. Social Security benefits are funded primarily through payroll taxes. Workers pay into the program now, and the most of the money is paid out to retirees. So let's not forget about that right now, though. These taxes are not even enough to pay out benefits in full. Just to cover Social Security, it has been dipping into its trust funds.
Have to start thinking about, at least, the looming debt limit deadline. Democrats' message: political brinksmanship could drive up costs for ordinary households. A recent analysis by the center-left think tank Third Way estimated that an actual default could result in the loss of 3 million jobs, a $20,000 drop in the average retirement savings, and a $130,000 increase in the cost of a mortgage. And Republicans argue this is all fear-mongering. House Budget Committee Chairman Jody Arrington tweeted, "Democrats and Republicans must seize this opportunity to rein in unsustainable spending and reorient the nation's fiscal trajectory before it is too late." Now, top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell was confident yesterday that the country would not face a financial crisis.
In the end, I think the important thing to remember is that America must never default on its debt. It never has and never will. But we'll end up in some kind of negotiation with the administration over what.
So both Democratic and Republican lawmakers, everybody, are negotiating on Americans receiving universal basic income payments. This is some good news. It has been announced up to $18,000 may be claimed by several people that are experiencing financial difficulties. So if you qualify for this extra stimulus check, be sure to watch this entire video because you definitely don't want to miss out on it. So the past round stimulus checks have been given to people, and more and more Americans are feeling the need for universal basic income. But many lawmakers in certain states and cities are getting used to this idea. Universal basic income is a set of recurring payments that individuals get from the government. These can be paid out every month, several times a year, or just once annually. Now, this is an idea that entrepreneur Andrew Yang, who recently left the Democratic Party, centered his 2020 presidential campaign around. Now, the good news is that states across the country are beginning to implement their own relief plans that include sending out state relief payments. For a while now, Alaska has been giving its citizens checks under the Alaska Permanent Fund. The fund, which has been around since 1982, was designed to provide state residents, citizens, with a portion of state oil revenues. The Sovereign Wealth Fund pays out annual dividends to eligible citizens. To qualify, you must be an Alaska resident for at least a year, and you're not eligible for this if you've been convicted. Last year's payment went out to 643,000 citizens in Alaska. That totaled around $1,200 per person. The highest payout occurred in 2008 when the payment was around $2,000. Now more money is headed into the pockets of thousands of people who live in Chicago. The Chicago City Council yesterday approved a multi-million-dollar budget, which includes hundreds of dollars for thousands of households in the Windy City. This makes it the largest basic income pilot program in the United States. To qualify, individuals must earn less than $35,000 per year.
And we should have the defense bill passed now, but we're not going to do this funding until next year. It's totally inconsistent, unsafe, and the rest. So you just have to ask them that. But it just shows you how determined they are not to invest in the American people.
It's happening. The lawmakers are discussing a huge process on passing a new bill. These bills would have a great effect on the American people. However, folks, the Democrats are raising concerns on the United States right now. In this moment, we don't know what they're going to do about this fourth stimulus, because Kevin McCarthy signaled his support for today for some cuts in defense spending amid the growing tension with the White House and GOP leaders about whether another stimulus should be sent out today. Well, let me tell you one thing, it definitely should. During an appearance, Kevin McCarthy was asked if he was willing to cut defense spending as part of a reported deal with the GOP caucus in order to freeze spending at 2022 levels. While McCarthy disputed estimates that such a deal would result in a $75 billion cut to defense spending, something that people don't even want to admit is the fact. McCarthy told Fox, "It's back if we go to 2022 levels. There was the spending just 2 or 3 weeks ago that's not cutting defense by $75 billion. So, the speaker also noted that every single level of the government should be looking at ways to spend less taxpayer money, but Kevin McCarthy remains timid as tensions grow within the White House GOP over possible reductions to defense spending. As a result of the deal, McCarthy reportedly struck in his bid to secure the speakership. Now, to cap discretionary spending in the fiscal year 2022, that would effectively cut $75 billion, everybody. $75 billion from the $900 billion of defense spending that the Democrats have and that the Democrats want. The Republican House majority also passed its first bill this week in an effort to revoke a boost in spending for the IRS. McCarthy announced that it was the first order of business because government should work for you, not against you. The bill passed a 221 to 210 vote along the party lines. It would rescind the budget increase of $80 billion given to the IRS earlier this year for the IRA. So now, however, the Biden administration has also threatened to make some big changes. And this is what I'm talking about. With Congress divided between Republican-led House and Democratic-held Senate, the policy priorities of either party may pass in a single chamber, but are unlikely to succeed in both. Partisan measures, therefore, have standing a little chance of becoming law, and the current Congress does not expect to pass a bill, major one that is, that advances the partisan platforms of Republicans or Democrats. Some analysts have worried that Republicans infighting in the recent rules package are a sign of more alarming things to come. They fear that the House may not be able to approve a must-pass bill, including government budgets and bills to raise debt ceiling. Congress holds the purse strings. It allocates the funds to federal agencies and programs, folks. And appropriation bills are passed periodically through Congress. But when it runs out, well, things are done. It's over for them. I do want to say that the Congress holds and last year that needed to approve an increase in the government borrowing power known as the debt ceiling. This means that Democrats warned that if the Republican-held House plays politics too much with the issue, it could lead to a disastrous consequence for the U.S. and the economy. And now, our state is on the track to reach a debt ceiling on January 19th, unless Congress does something. In the past, Congress has avoided this raising debt limit, but House Republicans say they will not support another increase unless they get spending cuts or other concessions. Defaulting on the debt would be a first in U.S. history. It would force officials to choose between continuing assistance, like Social Security, and paying interest on the nation's debt. But a House Republicans' payment prioritization plan will call for the Biden administration to make the most urgent federal payments if the debt limit is reached. This plan is causing some confusion among the Democrats because they really just don't even know what to do and if they should send out stimulus. Well, the truth is they need to, and the truth is they have to send out stimulus now. We got 10 news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, SDI, as well as the SSA. We have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus payments, everybody.